What's happening, y'all? Welcome back to Game Day with Trey, man. We're going to go ahead and just go through this quick game. The Charlotte Hornets versus the Cleveland Cavaliers. This game is to be played on Sunday at 1 p.m. This is the final game of the season for both teams. All right, over-under opened up at 207.5. Cleveland minus 12.5. It has since moved to over-under 210, and Cleveland minus 13.5. When you look at the injury report for this game, okay, and just to let you know why this game is important, Cleveland's currently sitting in the number 4 slot in the East, only back behind the Knicks by 1 position and only over the Magic by 2. So they could, at worst, still end up in this 4th slot. But at the same time, they probably want to move up. All right, and then whereas the Hornets, we already know they're just the dregs of the league. They're bums. All right, so will Cleveland cover that 12 to 13 and a half? I'm not sure. Don't think that's possible right now. I mean, it's possible. It is possible, but at the same time, I'm not thinking that that's like the most important thing to them. Garland is doubtful. Karis LeVert's out. Donovan Mitchell's out. So that kind of tells you where they're sitting at right now. They really probably don't care about, covering a spread. All right, they're worried about playoffs. Okay, Charlotte recently lost to the Celtics and the Mavericks while beating the Hawks, and Cleveland recently lost to the Clippers while beating the Grizzlies and the Pacers. All right, and when you're talking about these two teams, last 10 times, Cleveland runs it 6-4 straight up. However, Charlotte owns it 5-4-1 against the spread, and it's gone 7 to the over, 3 to the under. And Cleveland's last 10 games, they've gone 7 to the over, 3 to the under. They're 4-6 against the spread, and they're 5-5 straight up. Whereas Charlotte is 3-7 straight up, 6-4 in against the spread, and 8 to the over, 2 to the under. All right, so when you're looking at these two teams situationally, as home favorite against the spread, Cleveland comes into this game 14-16-1, whereas Charlotte as an away underdog is 13-26. All right, but when you look over-unders in the same position, as a home favorite, Cleveland is 18 to the over, 12 to the under with 1 push. And as an away underdog, Charlotte is 19 to the over and 20 to the under. All right, so for this game, you guys, as far as spread is concerned, I guess I could lean Charlotte because I'm not thinking Cleveland is too serious about covering this game, and not even sure if Charlotte even wants to be here at this point in time. So they might not be covering that 13.5. But what I would look towards is that Cleveland team total over. All right, I did play that. And that Cleveland team total over, I got in at 110.5. Yeah, so Cleveland team total over 110.5 is what I ended up locking in for this game. All right, you guys, so I'm not here to waste any time. Let's go ahead and get into this next game. The Atlanta Hawks visiting the Indiana Pacers. This game played 1 p.m. Like I said before, this is the last game of the season. Over and under opened up at 236. Indiana minus 14. And it has since moved to over under 240. And Indiana minus 14 still. All right, so injury report for these two teams. Okay, Atlanta's trying to, Okongwu is going to be out. Jalen Johnson is out. He's major for this team as far as defense is concerned. Wesley Matthews is out. For Indiana, Jalen Smith is questionable. Obi Toppin questionable. And Isaiah Jackson questionable. This game is important because of the fact that Indiana is currently sitting in the number 6 seed. And if they're tied with at least statistically, okay, with Orlando and Philly. So let's say if Orlando wins and Philly wins, then Indiana falls into the play-in. If Indiana wins and then Orlando wins, then Philly, no matter what, stays in the play-in. But if Orlando loses and the Pacers win and Philly wins, then the Pacers will move up to the 5. Philly will move up to the 6, and Orlando, I think, will come down to the play-in. So there's a lot of different variables that come along, which is why I'm only covering the games that I'm covering right now. So with this Indiana versus Atlanta matchup right now, you're looking at Atlanta team, all right, that's coming off losses to the Mavericks, Nuggets, Heat, Hornets, and Timberwolves, whereas you're talking about a Pacers team that recently beat the Heat, Thunder, and Raptors. All right. Head to head, these two teams, Atlanta owns the series 6-4. They did last play January 12th. Atlanta lost in Atlanta. The score was 126 to 108. Pacers have won the last three and covered the last three times these teams have played. It went over 2 out of the last 3 times that these teams have played, although they have played 4 times this season. So that gives Atlanta 1 victory over the whole season, and they only covered once this whole season, which was at home in Atlanta. Currently, this game will be played in Indiana. All right, so when you're looking at these two teams, it's 6-4 to Atlanta in the last 10, 6-4 to the Pacers in the last 10 against the spread, and 8 to the over, 2 to the under in the last 10 times these two teams have matched up. Atlanta in their last 10 games regular season, they're 4-6 straight up, 4-6 against the spread, and 7 to the over, 3 to the under. Whereas the Pacers are coming into this series or in this game 6-4 straight up, 5-5 against the spread, and 7 to the over, 3 to the under. All right, you're gonna see a kind of a trend in what I'm gonna be telling you in these games. All right, especially with it being the last game of the season and those kind of stakes up for grabs. Okay, all right, so against the spread situationally, as an away underdog, Atlanta is 10-16, whereas Indiana is a home favorite in the situation is 8-3-1. And then when you look over unders, away underdog is 13-13 for Atlanta, and home favorite it is 16 to the over, 12 to the under for Indiana. All right, in this current situation, stat splits right now in the last 3 games, Atlanta's averaging 110.3 points per game and giving up 113.7 points per game, whereas Indiana's averaging 125.7 and giving up 122.3. All right, that's why the over/under is set at 240 for this game, you guys. All right, so my final analysis on this is just giving you some real quick facts. The Hawks have lost each of their last 7 games at Gainbridge Fieldhouse Arena following a road loss. The Hawks have failed to cover the spread in 8 of their last 9 games against the Central Division opponents that held winning records, and 11 of the Hawks' last 12 games against Central Division opponents have gone over the total points line. And then when you look at Indiana, Pacers have won each of their last 7 games following a loss. The Pacers have covered the spread in each of their last 7 games following a loss, and 8 of the Pacers' last 9 home games against the Hawks following a road loss have gone over the total points line. So, what I got on this one, I'm going to have to let you know. As far as the spread's concerned, I'm not looking at that spread. I mean, if I was going to play it, just because of what I just told you, I would have to take Indiana. Okay, but I'm really most likely going to put in the Indiana Pacers team total over that 126.5. I think these two teams can score. I know it's the last game of the season. It is kind of important for the Pacers if they do play an up-tempo game. So, with that being said, I would definitely have to go with the Pacers team total over. That's what I'm going to lock in on this one. You can mess with the over-under on the game, but, you know, that might have some variables to it. I'm pretty sure the Pacers are going to actually score. I'm not sure if Atlanta's going to be locked all the way in on this game. All right, so let's go ahead and get on to this next one. All right, so looking into this next matchup, I'm going to be rather quick. This is the Toronto Raptors visiting the Miami Heat. This game will be played at 1 p.m. A line over-under opened up at 222. Miami minus 15.5. It has since gone down to 220, and Miami minus 15.5 still. So let's look a little bit into this game. Injuries, Manuel quickly is going to be out. So if that tells you anything for how serious Toronto's taking this game, you should understand right now, right? And then Miami, Terry Rozier is going to be out. Josh Richardson, of course, out, and Duncan Robinson's questionable. All right, so the reason this game is important for Miami's sitting down in the number 9 slot. They can't move up, they can't move down, but Miami's sitting in the number 8 slot, and they can move up. They're down by 1 to Philly. So say Philly loses, okay, and Miami wins, then Miami will then be tied with Philly, and then it'll probably come down to win-loss and conference and all that stuff there. So Miami does need to win this game. People are going to be watching the scoreboards during this game. All right, now as far as these two teams are concerned, Toronto Raptors recently lost to the Pacers, Nets, and Heat. Miami Heat recently beat the Raptors and the Hawks while losing to the Mavericks and Pacers. They did beat the The Raptors, like the other night on Friday night, they beat the brakes off of them head to head. The score was 125 to 103. All right. Last 10 games, the Raptors kind of run this series 6-4. As far as this season's concerned, though, Miami has won 2 out of the 3 games. They covered 2 out of the 3 games, and 2 out of the 3 games went under the total points. In the last 10 times these two teams have matched up, Toronto runs it straight up 6-4. They run it against the spread 7-3, and it's been six to the over and 4 to the under. Whereas when you're talking about how these two teams have looked situationally, you're talking about as home favorite. Miami is 15-15 against the spread and an away underdog. Toronto is 18-15-1 against the spread. All right, so let all that tell you what you need to know, man. As far as over-under is concerned, home favorite, Miami, 16 to the over, 14 to the under. Away underdog for Toronto, it is 19 to the over, 14 to the under. Hence, once again, you see large spread, over-under set at between almost down to 219.5 some places right now. And if you're talking about how these two teams, just giving you a quick little facts on them, all right? The Raptors have won each of their last 10 day games. Take it for what it's worth. The Raptors have failed to cover the spread in 10 of their last 11 games against teams that held a winning record. And the Raptors have last 4 day games have gone over the total points line. All right. The Heat, however, have won each of their last 6 games against teams that held a losing record. The Heat have covered the spread in 7 of the last 8 games as favorites, and each of the last Heat's 8 games against Eastern Conference opponents have gone over the total points. Hence why I have already locked in the Miami Heat team total over. I think that's the simplest and easiest play on this game. I'm not sure if I would rock with that 15.5. Most likely wouldn't, just because of the fact that's too large of a spread for me. For Miami to be giving up in a game that's really not important for the Raptors to score, but at the same time, Miami doesn't really have to cover. They just need to win the game, you know. And with as porous as the Raptors' defense is, that's why I lean towards that team total over for the Miami Heat, you guys. All right, so and for this next matchup, we got the Milwaukee Bucks visiting the Orlando Magic. All right, this game will be played at 1 p.m. also. The line opened up at 214.5, Magic -5. Since it has since moved, it's still at 214.5 for the over/under, but it has moved to Magic -6.5. So a quick look into this game. Matchup injuries, you got Damian Lillard is probable. He missed the last contest with a left abductor soreness, but it's predicted he will play versus the Magic. But Giannis is sidelined still with that left calf strain, so he's going to remain out of action for this game. That's pivotal for them. And as far as the Magic concerned, Wendell Carter Jr. is questionable. He's laid up with back spasms. Remains to see if he'll be open for or be playing in the Sunday game. But Franz Wagner is going to be playing, and that is key for the Orlando Magic. I mean, that dude is key. I hate to say it, but well, I don't hate to say it, but it's true. The Magic struggle against guards, first and foremost, all right, that are fast and play good, have good handles, able to run an offense. Okay, Dame Lillard's not that guy. He's not the guy who's able to run an offense. He's able to score. He's a great guard, great point guard. But he ain't an offense. He's not a guy who can run an offense and orchestrate an offense. So the Magic shouldn't struggle in that aspect of this game. Plus, Franz Wagner being the key cog. Him and Paolo are like 1A, 1B. You need both of them in order for the Magic to be successful. So without that, with all that being said, the Milwaukee Bucks have recently lost to the Thunder while beating the Celtics and the Magic, whereas the Orlando Magic are coming off losses to the Rockets, Bucks, and 76ers. All right, so there is a revenge factor in this game. In the last 10 games, the Bucks own this series 9-1 straight up, and it's 6-4 against the spread. All right, so the Bucks own this series in the last 10 matchups. They've won 2 of the last 3 times, which were all played this season, but the Magic did cover 2 of the last 3 times. All right. Last game was played April 10th, and it was 117-99. Milwaukee covered the 1.5, and this game was played in Milwaukee. However, this game will be played in Orlando today, and in the last 10 times these teams have played, it's gone 6 to the over, 4 to the under. Okay, and so far this season, it's gone 2 unders, 1 over. All right, now when you're talking about Milwaukee and how they've been playing in their last 10 games, they are 3-7 straight up, 3-7 against the spread, and 6-4, 6 to the over, 4 to the under in the last 10 games that they played. Whereas the Magic are 4-6 straight up, 3-7 against the spread, and 5-5 over under. So both these teams come in limping right now, like into this game, man. As far as consistency is concerned, and we're really not going to know who's going to be able to come out until probably tip off. When I'm saying come out, we're not going to know who's going to be coming out and really coming for blood in this game. The Magic should be coming out here and trying to take heads. And honestly, they got a revenge game. They've been getting their behind kicked by this team 9 out of the last 10 times they played, like I told you earlier. So, but let's look against the spread situationally. Against the spread situationally, as a home favorite, the Orlando Magic are 18-6 this season, whereas as an away underdog, Milwaukee's 3-7 as an away underdog. So clear lean and favor to the Orlando Magic in this situation. By the way, the Orlando Magic have been playing over the last so far this season. When you look over under, it's concerned, as a home favorite, it goes 10 to the over and 14 to the under for these Orlando Magic. And then as an away underdog, it goes 2 to the over and 8 to the under for the Milwaukee Bucks. So in this situation, it leans all the way into the Magic favor. All right. So let me go ahead and give you, so in the stat splits last 3 games, the Milwaukee Bucks are averaging 109.3 points per game, giving up 105, whereas the Magic are scoring a putrid 106 and giving up 120, man. Now, this game is important because the Magic currently sit, like I told y'all before, in the number 5 slot, right? And Milwaukee is in the number 2 slot. Now, if Milwaukee loses, all right, then that gives opportunity for the New York Knicks to jump up to the number 2, and Milwaukee could drop all the way to the number 4. Say Cleveland wins and New York wins. All right, so this game's pretty important for Milwaukee, and for Giannis not to be playing, that tells me everything I need to know. Yeah, they're taking it seriously and they want to win this game, but at the same time, they're comfortable with whatever position they're in because they are locked into the playoffs. Okay, so just a couple facts on these two teams. The Bucks have won 16 of the last 17 games against the Magic. The Bucks have failed to cover the spread in 9 of the last 10 road games against Southeastern Conference opponents that held a winning record. And each of the Bucks' last 4 games as underdogs have gone over the total points line. Whereas the Magic have won each of their last 9 games as home favorites against Eastern Conference opponents. The Magic have covered the spread in each of their last 9 games as home favorites against Eastern Conference opponents. And each of the Magic's last 11 Sunday games have gone under the total points line. So in this game, I can only lean the Magic. I got in when it was at the 5.5. It's now pushed up to 6.5 and back down to 6. So on some books, so it depends on where you get in and where you get it at. But I definitely took the Magic. I like them to go ahead and pull it out today and do what they need to do. Really not too confident in Dame being able to carry this team to where it needs to go. Although, this team can beat the Magic without Giannis. Like, that can happen. But that happens when Franz Wagner's not out there. Franz Wagner out there, the Magic are a completely different team. Like I told you earlier, man. But I don't know, man.